Hey, what the heck? Sorry, guys. Yes, Palisa, you cannot tell me that you are eating in my class. Please, guys, do not come to this class if you are not ready to take my lessons serious. No, man, I cannot be dragging you, Cosmo. You are busy smoking there at the toilet. What must I say? Guys, please, this is Closeup Education, and today we'll be learning about river rejuvenation. What is river rejuvenation? What I can tell you right now is that take a seat. Take a seat. I don't care whether you didn't get a lunchbox money or whatever, something like that. I do not care, guys. This is your final flipping year. Okay, guys, you heard it right. What is a river rejuvenation? A river rejuvenation simply means it is a process whereby a river regains its vertical erosive power. You definitely had it right. Let me write it down so that you could better understand. And I hope everyone is definitely carrying my textbooks, right? Guys, please put those textbooks on the desk and take out your class workbooks. Write this definition. What did I say? I said a process whereby a river regains. Definitely had it right. Its vertical erosive power. Yes, make sure that you like this video if you are definitely loving how we are already moving. Yes, guys, and the first thing we definitely have to do to understand what's happening here is to understand that we are doing river. We are talking about the river, and when we are talking about the river, we usually use two of the best sketches. We use the cross-section and also a longitudinal profile. You heard it right. And for our first example, we'll be definitely using a longitudinal profile. Hopefully, you definitely do remember it. It has our definitely source and our mouth, right? We have our source here and we have our mouth here. This is definitely a longitudinal profile. And what we definitely know is that a river, that is common knowledge, right? And maybe common prediction that usually a river will flow and it will end towards the sea. It will end at the sea, right? Meaning our mouth, our very own mouth, it is what? It is the sea. The sea. Where there's a mouth, there's a sea, right? Now let's draw our gradient, guys. Let's try it and check how our river is actually looking like. Okay, guys, this is definitely our longitudinal profile. And looking at this profile, we definitely are finding already 10 marks, I can say. Did your YouTuber tell you, did your favorite YouTuber tell you about these 2 marks? The first mark is the fact that this is a concave shape, right? It is smooth on the upper course and is definitely gentle on the lower course, right? We know we have the upper course, the middle course, and the lower course, right? And definitely what else is that this is a graded profile. Why? Because of it is a smooth concave. You definitely have gotten those 10 marks already. Okay, guys, and now that we know this is an upper course, middle course, and the lower course, we definitely know that the lower course, usually the river at the lower course is no longer having that much energy, right? The river is no longer energized than the young stage, right? You remember the young stage, guys. It is no longer as definitely quick as it was in the upper course. So it is very, very slow in the lower course. So what is happening right now? So if it is very slow, that means the rejuvenation or the regaining of the river's power might be actually happening where the river, it is already no longer moving at the highest pace. You heard what I said. I definitely said where the river is no longer on its highest pace, it's no longer speeding. That means the river rejuvenation usually occurs there, right? It has to occur where already there's no energy. The river already has no energy. Okay, guys, and we know that the lower course, the level of the lower course, it is usually the same level as the sea. So this is the sea level, the natural sea level, because of the lower course level is here. That means this has to be the natural sea level, right? But if maybe it happens, right, it happens that maybe it has been a very hot months, right? It has been hot months and maybe even years without precipitation, right? So there's obviously a lot of precipitation or a lot of evaporation occurring in the sea. And then when there's a lot of evaporation, what will happen? The sea level might actually drop, right? Might actually drop. Guys, this is not the only explanation why the sea level might actually drop, but then this is one of what I can tell you right now. This is one of the options that you may actually use, right? So it has dropped from this level to this level. Oh my goodness. So the sea level is no longer here, right, within the lower course, and the lower course has to be with the same level as the sea. So now what do we have now? Now we have two base levels, guys. We have now two base levels. A temporary base level, it is created. So what is happening now? Now we have what we call our temporary base level. And definitely here, where there's now a new level of sea level, this is definitely the permanent base level. So the level of the sea, it is always the permanent base level. The leveling of the sea, there, that level, it is a permanent base level. Then the other leveling before the sea, right? Definitely the other leveling before the sea will be a temporary base level. And now looking at this longitudinal profile, now we can start to tell that it might not actually be a graded profile. Now it is an ungraded profile because of it is no longer smooth, right? There is now a gradient change. There is a change in gradient, right, caused by the drop in sea level. So the sea level dropped. Now the water, it is no longer flowing straight. It has changed its direction. It is now flowing what? Vertically, and is not only flowing vertical. As it is flowing vertically, moving from a higher place down, right? Now it has a distance. What is happening? Erosion. There's erosive power happening. As it is descending vertically, it is eroding, right? As it is eroding, it's definitely trying to push more soil so that we could try and erode whether vertical. We know as it's eroding downward, there will be vertical erosion here. A plunge pool will be creating, or maybe it can erode downward or backward, I mean, as it erodes at the back. As the water is splashing here, it can erode at the back so that it can definitely cut off here, so we can have another same level, a smooth concave, right? We know that there's erosion, but then the most important erosion that will be happening, it is the vertical erosion. The vertical erosion as it goes deep, right? It's moving from an upper course, it is moving from a higher gradient down towards the lower part. Okay, guys, so now we can definitely tell that the drop in sea level can create the river to now start to move faster, right? It was obviously flowing. When now there's a change in gradient, it will definitely start to move fast, and it will erode vertically downward, creating a plunge pool and stuff like that. If you do not understand, watch the lesson I dropped of Fluvial landforms. You'll understand how we are actually learning and how we are actually moving. Okay, guys, and it's not only the drop in sea level, it's not only the drop in sea level which can actually cause river rejuvenation. No, it's not only that. Also, there's what we call isostatic uplift. We know the isostatic uplift. We did the tectonic uplift on grade 9 and stuff like that, whereby when there's an earthquake, right, we know that there's some tectonic plates clashing underneath here, and they might cause a rising of the land, right? When they are clashing, one going under the other going on top, they might cause the land to definitely rise, right? So what's happening? Maybe there's this one going underneath and this one is forced to go on top now. When is this forced to go on top? The gradient of the land, it is no longer just like this. It has obviously been uplifted. This is isostatic uplift, the rising of the land. You don't have to explain a lot when it comes to an exam or question, guys. Don't be scared. when it comes to river rejuvenation. You just tell them a drop in sea level. They will never ask you to explain how does a drop in sea level actually occur. But then for your own safety, for you to just be a geography to want to understand, you might actually want to research more about how this actually occurs. And also the isostatic uplift. They will never ask you about the tectonic plates shifting and earthquakes. No, they will just say, okay, what can actually cause river rejuvenation? Isostatic uplift, the rising of land, or drop in sea level, the drop in the level of the ocean, right? Then you're definitely done. So this, obviously our gradient, how will it be looking now? This will be looking like this now, straight, and then it will be dropping, right? It's straight and it's dropping now and continuing. So now it seems like we have another temporary base level, another temporary base level. So now we have another temporary base level. And where there's a sharp change, this point here, when there's a sharp gradient change, this is definitely known as our nick point, right? We know the nick point, that place here. It is definitely our nick point. And then obviously what can happen, what fluvial landform could occur here, such as rapids could occur, or a waterfall. You can definitely tell a waterfall, it is occurring here. That is a fluvial landform that can actually occur when there's isostatic uplift, right? There could be a rapids and stuff like that. So these are the two things that can actually make river rejuvenation to actually occur. Yes, guys. Okay, hoping using this longitudinal profile, we had a bit of an understanding of what is river rejuvenation, when the river regains its erosive power. All right, guys, now we have to understand that when that actually happens, what fluvial landforms can actually occur. And we know about fluvial landforms. If you do not know about fluvial landform, watch the video I did drop before this one. But then don't leave without liking this one. Like this video, subscribe to my channel. Why? Because of now we'll be moving into the cross section to understand how our fluvial landform actually are created by this river rejuvenation. Okay guys, you definitely know I'm not your artist, I'm not your art guru. I do not have any Rastafarian head. But then what I can do is that I usually like sketching. That's how I usually passed my geography and most of my lesson. I did some sketching. So once you sketch, you will definitely not forget. So now let's sketch a cross profile of the fluvial landforms that can actually occur. So this first one will be a before river rejuvenation has actually occurred, right? Let's start. I'm not an artist. I've said this and I'll say it again. What's happening with this marker? Is this the end of my marker? Oh my goodness, guys. This is going to be crazy. Do I have another one? Let's see. Oh my goodness. Another one. Okay. We're going for green. Okay. Green. What do you have for us, green? Let's try and sketch something nice. Green. Right. So definitely. Okay. And then what is happening here? This is our definitely river. It is maybe meandering here, and here it's maybe not. Right? It can't be meander all over. Right? And definitely we can definitely tell what's happening here. Maybe if I can name this structure, we can better understand what's definitely happening here, right? Okay, maybe something like this. I think I just did wrong. Maybe something like that. Okay guys, so let's start by naming it. The first thing we can definitely tell, I already said this is our river. What is our marker ending, guys? It seems like it is the end of the year for real. Even my markers are ending. Damn, everything is the end here. Okay, this is the river, and this is what we call our definitely levees, guys. Our natural levees, right? Our natural levees, meaning if these are our levees, that means this area has to be definitely our floodplain, right? This is definitely our floodplain. And where do we find our floodplain? We find it at the lower coast. And I told you that, meaning river rejuvenation, it is likely to happen where the river it is already losing its energy. So you find your floodplain at the lower course, right? This is definitely what we can tell, and this is definitely the high rising land, right? This is the high rising land. There's roads here. There's people are living here. This is the definitely floodplain here. Okay, the wetlands. Yes, guys. Now we can definitely understand the river flowing before river rejuvenation. Let's start to try and understand the river flowing after river rejuvenation. Okay, guys, this is going to be a bit tricky. Not sure about the space. That means this will be much shorter. Let me just try to create a much shorter river course, right? This is definitely looking like $1 million, right? This is definitely, hopefully we can definitely see it. The camera can capture everything. Definitely have our river. But then what's happening now? This river, it is rejuvenating at this point. Let's say there's what we call isostatic uplift there, right? Let's say maybe a drop in sea level. But then usually within the land, within the middle of the land, there can be or maybe a drop in sea level. And once that happens, in this area there will be what we call waterfall. As we remember, there's definitely a drop in the change in gradient, there will be a waterfall, right? And when there's a waterfall now in this area, what is happening? Remember here we definitely had this meander. This water meandering will continue. Does it mean that when there's river rejuvenation, the meandering will be squashed? No, but then the meandering will be worse. We'll have two kinds of meandering. We'll have incised or ingrown meanders, right? Which is the incised? It is the cutting deep, a meander that is deep cutting through, right? And then the incised, it is the meander that is cutting laterally, right? That is opening too much space on the side. So what will happen is that we will have a valley within a valley. That is our first fluvial landform. This will happen, right? There will definitely be another valley here. So this will be a valley within our very own valley. We remember this valley now. I have to draw it the green because it will look like there are lots of rivers. This one and this one. Right? So now there's definitely this here. There's this valley within this old valley. So what is this telling us? Let's name these things to better understand. This one is definitely the floodplain. But then now, after rejuvenation, it is called the old floodplain. Because of this could become our new floodplain. As this definitely digs down, right? There's obviously a change in gradient. And what's happening? There's lateral erosion here. There's lateral erosion. A lot of vertical erosion and a lot of lateral erosion is going to happen, right? And what is this? This is a valley within a valley, guys. I don't have space. This is a valley within a valley now. Now we have a valley within a valley, meaning we can have a new floodplain, right? We can now start to have a new floodplain after some time. And this is the old floodplain, this one. And definitely here, this is no longer our levees. No, it's no longer our levees, right? Because of our levees we can now be having a new levee here, right? This will be now called what we call our definitely river terraces, guys. River terraces. River terrace. Yes, guys. Now we can have river terrace. So what can we tell now? We have what we call waterfall. We have waterfall because of the gradient change. We have river levees, river terraces because of also the gradient change. What is the river terraces? Whereby there's the steps now. The steps that are telling us that the river actually was once here. The level of the river was once here. Now there are steps, right? That is the river terrace. It is also a fluvial landform, right? It is created because of river rejuvenation. Okay, guys, then now everything that is created by a river, it is definitely a fluvial landform, right? Then we continue, guys. What can we tell here? This is definitely, there's erosion happening here. This meander can either be what? It can either incised or ingrown. Looking at the cross profile, if we can definitely see, this is our cross profile. And incised definitely means cutting through. That's an incised, right? But then an ingrown definitely means that this one, it is definitely having some things here. Right? It is obviously eroding the sides here. It is definitely chowing the sides. It is ingrown, right? It is meandering and even out of the river. It is ingrown, caused by river rejuvenation. Definitely, if there's more volume of water, water can definitely come out of the floodplain and definitely create what we call an ingrown meander landform. Okay, guys, now we can definitely tell what's happening here. Hopefully I did explain a lot of things. I don't know, guys, I don't know how you feel. I feel great. I feel like I've explained a valley within a valley, which is created when there's obviously erosion here. This waterfall, this nick point waterfall, remember the nick point, that sharp change, that sharp gradient change. Guys, it will not end if I want to definitely start all over again. So make sure that you like this video, subscribe to my channel. Why? Because of river rejuvenation, it is not as hard as you think it is. You don't have to be saying, oh, heavy precipitation is the one. No, that's not the answer. That's not the always answer. There are two answers, isostatic and definitely a drop in sea level. Fede, river rejuvenation, and also what is this? River capture can definitely also add river capture, maybe also heavy precipitation, but then you might not get the highest marks if you just say heavy precipitation. What the heck? Okay, guys, make sure that you like this video, subscribe to my channel. Why? Because if it seems like this light has now moved, I'm no longer sure if it's giving me that yellow bone vibe or what. But then please make sure that you like this video. I'm out of electricity. Where I'm located, there is no power, but then I still continue. Okay.